YouTube, what up? Today we're gonna be reacting to Trap Lord Ross's documentary about the Meek Mill Diddy situationship. I'm gonna be posing as Meek Mill's defense attorney in this hypothetical court.
Good evening. Today I'll be defending my client, Meek Mills, otherwise known as Meek Millions, against the diddling allegations. He didn't get diddled. He didn't do no diddling. He's an innocent man.
Meek Mill used to be the Philadelphia street rapper who beat the odds. He had served multiple prison bids and still managed to release hit records that dominated the charts. But then that embarrassing L from Drake came, followed by his label drama with Maybach Music Group. And by 2024, what was once a meteoric rise had turned into a struggle to stay relevant. But just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse for Meek, the Diddy scandal erupted.
Singer Cassie has accused hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs of and a decade of physical abuse. The two,
God bless Cassie, prayers out for her,
were romantically involved for years, but in a lawsuit made public today, Cassie says there was a pattern of control, drug use, and encounters.
Multiple lawsuits crashed down on the diddler, alleging everything from trafficking to domestic violence and sexual assault. And in the midst of this legal firestorm, Rodney Jones, Diddy's former producer, who spent over a year in the music mogul's inner circle, would drop perhaps the most explosive lawsuit of all. A 73-page bombshell that turned the world of hip-hop upside down, with a damning footnote suggesting that P. Diddy actually had a relationship with the Philadelphia rapper. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought Diddy was finished? The breadcrumbs were laid out, and internet detectives wasted no time connecting them directly to Meek's doorstep. As these allegations against Diddy's multiplied like a bump on the corner of his lip, the public began scrutinizing the true nature of Meek and Diddy's relationship with fresh eyes. And as social media sleuths dug deeper, it became clear that the clues had been hiding in plain sight all along.
Hey, what's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work.
Your Honor, my client was putting in work in the studio, okay? That's exactly what Diddy was referencing, the work he put in the studio, and you should not be fooled. Don't you think anything else. It was the work he was putting in the studio, not in the bedroom. Let's move forward.
Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
So today, we're taking a closer look into the bizarre and sus relationship between Meek Mill and Diddy to determine if they were truly just industry friends and mentor-mentee as they claimed, or perhaps if something more intimate was happening behind closed doors, and sometimes seemingly even.
That's preposterous. Strictly platonic. Just a friendship, nothing more.
In front of the camera.
The singer Cassandra Ventura, known as Cassie, today filing suit against ex-boyfriend Sean Combs.
P. Diddy accused of assault by producer Lil Rod. Put up the picture for him ass.
Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intercourse with rapper 5, that's redacted. He's a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Yo, me.
Your Honor, my client is from Philadelphia. He did date Nicki Minaj. Any other questions?
We were playing around with that Michael Rubin shit. If you don't get a Twitter rant saying you about to get Lil Rod killed, you about to shoot up his block, blow his mama's house up, this is saying that you and Diddy were fornicating. What the me? Like, I can't even imagine such debauchery and such happening to a gangster rapper like me.
That's just hearsay. That's all he said. He didn't provide any evidence, just word of mouth. Not substantial whatsoever.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy.
Daddy is a term of endearment. That's something you call your close friends, your close brothers, your best friends, the homies. What up, Daddy? How you feeling today, Daddy? You putting in that work, Daddy? That's normal behavior right there. There's nothing wrong with that.
You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy party. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing.
Do you think it's a lot of undercover brothers in the industry?
Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no.
Okay, because I do.
You see, Sean Diddy the Diddler Combs has long positioned himself as hip-hop's ultimate gatekeeper, the kingpin who could make or break careers with a single cosign. So for young artists, getting Diddy's attention was a golden ticket to exclusive circles, tight circles, industry connections, and the kind of mentorship that no streaming revenue could buy. And for a street rapper like Meek Mill, fresh out of prison on weapons and drug charges, Diddy may have represented a bridge between the block and the boardroom. He was looking for someone to come on board and have his back, but
What do you mean by that? Okay, what? A connection between what in the bedroom? What did he say?
streaming revenue could buy. And for a street rapper like Meek Mill, fresh out of prison on weapons and drug charges, Diddy may have represented a bridge between the block and the boardroom. He was looking for someone
He said boardroom.
to come on board and have his back, but not in the prison sense. The timing of their connection couldn't have been more perfect for Meek. For one, he was still relatively unknown outside of Philadelphia's underground scene.
Your Honor, this is the work my client has been putting in. This is what Diddy referenced at the pool. This is the work.
Having spent years grinding through mixtapes and dealing with legal troubles that could have ended his career before it truly began. His 2008 arrest on drug and gun charges had resulted in a probation sentence that would haunt him for nearly a decade, making industry connections even more crucial for legitimizing his transition from the streets to mainstream success. The two most likely crossed paths after Meek inked his deal with Rick Ross's Maybach music group in 2011. Since Diddy and Rose had been running in the same circles, this connection put Meek within the splash distance of hip-hop's billion-dollar boss. What made this relationship particularly significant was the cultural cachet that it represented. Diddy wasn't just a successful businessman, he was a symbol of black excellence in an industry that had historically exploited its artists. So for Meek, who had watched young men in the hood like himself fall victim to the streets, he narrowly escaped that fate himself. Aligning with Diddy represented the ultimate validation that he had truly made it out.
Very true. Meek Mill went through a lot to get to where he is now. It's a beautiful thing.
The trenches. And as Meek's stock rose with Maybach Music Group, Diddy's interest in the rising star began to grow, an interest that got thicker and hardened as time went on. Likewise, Meek, still with the streets in his blood, but the boardroom in his sights, likely began looking at Diddy with puppy eyes like the OG who could teach him how to turn street fame into generational wealth. And they would soon start popping up together at industry events like the Live Beach Party in 2013 and the Time Warner Cable Studio After Party in February 2014. These early public appearances established a pattern that would define their relationship for years to come. Unlike typical industry networking, where artists might take a quick photo and move on, Meek and Diddy seemed to genuinely enjoy each other's company. Then in 2015, Meek would level up big time.
What's that subtlety in Trap Lord Ross's voice, insinuating something more?
Move on, Meek and Diddy seemed to genuinely enjoy each other's company. Then in 2015, Meek would level up big time, landing one of the biggest female rap and pop stars ever, Nicki Minaj, as both his collaborator and his girlfriend.
Facts.
The same year that power couple started dating, that's Meek and Nicki, he would also release his sophomore album, Dreams Worth More Than Money, which would land him his first #1 album, as well as winning top rap album at the 2016 Billboard Music Awards. During this period, Meek continued to build his relationship with Diddy professionally, maintaining his industry connections while his career was on the rise, getting harder by the day. And while Meek and Nicki were building an image of one of music's favorite power couples, Diddy kept himself in their orbit like a proud husband sitting in the hotel cuck chair, and co-signing their movements like a proud uncle at graduation. Meek and Diddy also had hit the studio together for the track Cold Hearted off Meek's new chart-topping album, putting their mentor-mentee relationship on wax for the whole world to hear, with Meek shouting out Diddy together with the other big dogs of the rap game, Jay-Z and Baby aka Birdman. But then, in January 2017, Meek and Nicki would officially call it quits, causing one of the first major L's for the Philly rapper in the public eye. However,
That's not a L. People break up. People move on to bigger, better things. Now, I get it that, she was considered at the time much bigger than him. To me, I think it's a W that he even got her in the first place. But a L for them breaking up? No. Like, come on. People break up. People move on. People fall in love. People fall out of love.
Over on the rebound, Meek's connection with Diddy only got stronger and harder, like he traded one powerful relationship for another. Diddy was helping Meek get over his heartbreak, and the two were popping up everywhere together, popping bottles in VIP, hanging out in pools, and popping out at events. To the public eye, they were just two hustlers who had beaten the odds, one from the crack era and one from the trap era, both supporting each other.
I'm with Diddy on another level. Ooh, it's your birthday.
But what the public didn't fully understand at the time was how unusual this level of closeness was in the hip-hop and street cultures. While mentorship relationships are common, the industry typically maintains. But what the public didn't fully understand at the time.
I'm with Diddy on another level. Ooh, it's your birthday. I'm in the ditch with Diddy, he must move.
But
I done diddled the diddler, I done got him. Spied him, red dyed him.
what the public didn't fully understand at the time was how unusual this level of closeness was in the hip-hop and street cultures. While mentorship relationships are common, the industry typically maintains certain boundaries between established moguls and rising artists, and the fact that Diddy and Meek were spending so much personal time together and appearing at each other's private events so often suggested a bond that transcended typical business relationships. On paper, it was the perfect alliance. However, in April 2019, we would see the first piece of evidence that their bond might have been something that the streets was not ready to hear about. At Coachella that year, Meek and Diddy rolled up looking like they shared.
Your Honor, this is mere coincidence. My client, Diddy, showed up to a party wearing matching shirts. They did not call each other up on the phone earlier that day to plan this matching outfit thing. The person in the middle... Oh my God.
Had a stylist with matching fits and all, a move that seemed harmless at the time but would later be labelled Exhibit A in the zesty courts of public opinion. The picture of their matching outfits quickly made its way online and started circulating across social media. At the time, it sparked some jokes, a few side-eyes, but nothing career-threatening. Just two rich dudes with the same stylist who couldn't keep their hands off each other, right? But the thing is, this wasn't just a one-off situation, and a month later, in May 2019, footage emerged from what seemed like a casual hangout at one of Diddy's properties. The video showed Meek taking a little dip in Diddy's pool, and the clip itself seemed innocent enough until Diddy spoke.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
Diddy's word choice for Meek struck many.
Your Honor, my client was hot. He needed to cool off in the pool. As far as being called daddy, he technically is a daddy. He's a father. He has children. Okay? Let's move forward.
Viewers as unusual for a standard mentor-mentee relationship, or for a standard male friendship for that matter. But just like the matching fits in the photo, this footage made the rounds in the blogs, raising some eyebrows and causing relentless clowning. But it eventually disappeared into that internet graveyard where most celebrity content goes to die. But what no one knew at the time was that these seemingly innocent interactions would later come out in a much darker light. By the time the 2020s rolled around, Diddy was sitting on his throne, dripping dough and baby oil, playing the kingmaker in the rap industry. The bad boy mogul's parties were as legendary as ever, and if you got that invite, you'd truly made it to the top. And there was a lot of top. But while the mainstream media was busy gassing up Diddy's billion-dollar empire, platforms made up of the most dedicated internet sleuths like Lipstick Alley and Reddit were operating as a rumor mill, pumping out gossip that wouldn't see the light of day on Billboard until years later. These digital underground networks had been tracking patterns in celebrity behavior long before mainstream media.
Wait, chat, let's keep track of this. So Trap Lord referenced, I believe, two things that tie Meek Mill and Diddy in this sexual relationship. The first one, come on, it's the coincidental matching shirt fit, right? The second one, what is it? The pool thing. Like, okay, come on, these could be blown out of proportion. It does look crazy. Don't get me wrong. It looks crazy. This looks insane. It looks crazy. All right? But the evidence is not substantial.
Had caught on. Users would compile photo evidence, analyze social media interactions, and connect the dots that traditional journalism either missed or chose to ignore. The speculation about Diddy's sexuality had been circulating in these spaces for years, with users pointing to everything from his party guest lists to his business relationships as potential evidence. Folks on these platforms would try to connect the dots and cook up theories about Meek and Diddy's suspect relationship. The speculation ranged from subtle hints about their sexuality to theories that Meek and Diddy were genuinely lovers in a full-blown...
Your Honor, my client was in a dressing room, needed to take a selfie. He didn't want to move the chair. He'd rather turn his torso, keep his legs facing 90-degree angle from where his face was. That's a comfortability move, Your Honor.
relationship. But it wasn't just anonymous keyboard warriors running up the rumor mill. In 2022, Nicki Minaj, who had spent 3 years booed up with Meek Mill from 2015 to 2017 before sending him packing, hopped on Instagram Live with Soulja Boy, suggesting that she knew rappers in the industry were hiding their true sexualities.
Do you think it's a lot of undercover brothers in the industry?
Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no. We don't know about that.
Okay. Because I do.
Now, at the time, nobody knew who she was talking about, but later, people speculated that she might well have been talking about Diddy and Meek all along.
And that's all it is, speculation.
People just figured that Nicki was doing what Nicki does best, stirring the pot and keeping her name popping. While all this chatter was bubbling in the digital streets though, Meek was doing business as usual with Diddy. The man was still publicly stepping out with Puffy, appearing at his events and letting him play big homie in his career, and perhaps letting him play elsewhere. If he was aware of the rumors, he showed no signs of concern. Whether this was him being oblivious to the whispers or simply betting that they would never reach the mainstream is impossible to know, but what is clear is that he made a choice to maintain his close association with Diddy that, looking back at now, might have been the biggest career L he could have possibly taken. But Meek wouldn't realize just how costly this mistake would be until February 2024, when the Diddler's allegations finally came to light.
Oh!
Now, the countdown to catastrophe began in 2024, when security footage hit the internet showing Diddy assaulting his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway back in 2016. Visual confirmation of allegations that she had made in a lawsuit filed earlier. After Cassie's lawsuit, the floodgates were blown wide as a cheap twins back doors.
I can't even drink water smelling this shit right now. Hold on. Need to let that shit pass. I can't even blame it on anyone. I live alone.
Cassie's lawsuit didn't just open legal doors, it fundamentally shifted the cultural conversation around Diddy. For decades, he had maintained an image as a successful businessman and cultural icon, with any negative stories getting buried or dismissed as just industry gossip. But the specific detailed nature of Cassie's allegations, combined with the shocking video evidence, created a perfect storm that made previously unthinkable accusations suddenly seem credible. It provided a template for other victims to come forward, creating a cascade effect that would ultimately overwhelm Diddy's ability to control the narrative. By the end of 2023, 3 more lawsuits had crashed down on Diddy's empire, and each packed with allegations that made jaws drop, and not in the good way. As 2024 kicked off, lawsuits against Diddy started piling up like bodies. Either kind of bodies. Multiple accusers would come forward with allegations ranging from assault to sex trafficking and racketeering. The man who claimed "Can't Nobody Hold Me Down" had allegedly been holding several men and women down and was now drowning in legal paperwork. And this situation would be hard to get a handle on, like a leaky bottle of baby oil. But outside of Cassie's lawsuit, there would be another that garnered a lot of attention from the public. That's when Diddy's former producer Lil Rod, real name Rodney Jones, who'd spent over a year in the mogul's tight circle producing tracks for his latest album, went fully nuclear, filing a 73-page lawsuit that overshadowed all of the previous allegations. The suit detailed disturbing behavior, including allegations of drugging drinks, coordinating recording encounters without consent, and running what amounted to a criminal enterprise disguised as a music empire. During these late-night recording sessions, Diddy and Lil Rod had allegedly created some absolutely disgusting recordings. And that's just the music they made together. But while the main text discussed activities allegedly coordinated by Diddy, it also had a footnote buried on page 13 that would set social media on fire. A footnote described a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj allegedly having sexual
My client pleads the fifth, Your Honor.
relations with Diddy. There was no direct name, no explicit accusation, but it really didn't take much for the internet to connect the dots and figure the description might well have been a flashing neon sign pointing at Meek Mill. Within hours, old trails of Meek and Diddy's bromance would surface online. That daddy comment in the pool, those
yeah, might as well just have said Meek Mill, because Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. I mean, there's only one, right?
matching outfits, the constant appearances together, but this time it wouldn't be seen as two friends being overly close.
Who is that? This is what Diddy saw when he was recording Meek Mill in the pool. Oh, man.
It was now seen through a different and greasy lens, with people joking about Diddy being the dominant in their alleged relationship. Even Nicki's 2020 comment about undercover brothers in the industry resurfaced and went viral again, with fans claiming she'd been trying to warn everyone all along, and eagerly waiting to see if Nicki would spill the tea. Now, Nicki's comment carried extra weight because of her unique position on the situation. As Meek's ex-girlfriend who had been intimately involved in his life during the climax of his relationship with Diddy, she would have insider knowledge about the dynamics that the public never saw.
I'm from Philly. I don't do coke or freaky blink molly. Nobody won't even offer me coke because I'm that heavy. No man or what would ever approach me about gay activity, and the whole place don't get flipped. Woke up seeing this on every blog like they know I'm coming. LOL, Your Honor, when my client said I'm coming, he meant that literally, physically, not sexually. Okay? Let's move forward.
Meek would try to defend himself almost immediately after the allegations surfaced. What followed was a series of tweets seemingly designed to affirm his straightness, posts that ironically came across as desperate rather than convincing. In one tweet, Meek would brag about having twice a day when he had a woman around. He would follow that up claiming he was gangster, and then threaten to trash anyone who played with his manhood. Anyone but Diddy, I guess. But these attempts at damage control fell flat. The internet turned into a digital firing squad with Meek as the target. Fans cooked up AI-generated tracks with Meek's voice spitting bars about his alleged activities with Diddy.
Dream chasers. I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy. Real street forever. The king of Philly. Cold heart soul.
Memes flooded every social platform, with users getting increasingly creative in their mockery. One particularly viral meme made
Your Honor, relevance, this is all AI generated. It's all speculation.
Meek and Diddy into a movie poster parody titled Diddy Diddy Bang Bang, playing off the classic film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, a much more explicit implication, and another describing Meek and Diddy as booty brothers. Meek's bad boy dreams were quickly turning into nightmares, and his comments section became a battlefield that he just couldn't win, with fans relentlessly trolling him using Diddy-themed wordplay and taunting him to keep tweeting if you're gay. But perhaps the most savage development was when audio of two men aggressively going at it hit the web, with everyone claiming that it was Meek and Diddy making the kind of hits that you won't find on Billboard. But Meek's humiliation wasn't just coming from anonymous internet trolls and meme pages. Soon enough, actual celebrities started piling on, common behavior for a Diddy party, turning what was already a public relations nightmare into an industry-wide roasting session, again, common practice at Diddy's parties. The first big name to take shots was Andrew Tate of all people, the straight alleged would waste no time jumping into the fray as soon as the allegations surfaced. Tate quote tweeted his own months-old post about avoiding famous people because they're all gay and weird. Ironic coming from the once self-professed most famous man in the world, but okay. When Meek tried to clap back at Tate, bringing up the influencer's own legal troubles with sex trafficking allegations, Tate doubled down, making it clear he was just asking questions about what everyone else was already talking about. A bit rich coming from a man who spends most of his time shirtless with his attractive brother, but okay. By May, Meek had had enough. He would make what he thought was a smart move, unfollowing Diddy on Instagram. But it backfired completely. This apparent attempt to distance himself was actually seen as an admission of guilt, triggering another wave of mock.
I mean, come on, that's your friend. That's your friend. Don't distance yourself from him just because of, you know, the allegations, what people are saying. You know your truth. And yeah, to me that is crazy to just separate yourself from him like that, but it is what it is.
And with that, the celebrity pylon only intensified. Again, like a Diddy party after the 2C arrives. Soulja Boy, who had a completely unrelated beef with Meek over some producer drama, went straight for the jugular with a tweet that had the internet in shambles. The timing was perfect, or perfectly terrible for Meek. Here he was trying to distance himself from Diddy, and Soulja Boy just reminded everyone exactly why. A few days later, he would also go on Instagram Live to apologize for some other drama with Metro Boomin, but somehow managed to circle back to Meek.
And Meek Mill, mind your business. Ain't Diddy playing in your booty hole? Huh? Ain't Diddy you and your ass? Why you on my tweet around the Maybach church?
But while Meek was busy defending himself from Twitter trolls, he also had to deal with getting clowned by his longtime arch nemesis.
Big Machiavelli.
See, if there's one person in the public eye who's been on Meek's helmet, apart from Diddy, it's DJ Akademiks. The media personality and streamer had been beefing with Meek for years, with their feud dating all the way back to 2017 over Akademiks supposedly not promoting Meek's album properly. By 2020, Meek was publicly trying to cancel Akademiks, even threatening to put a hit on him. When somebody who gets hit by men is threatening to send hitmen, you know you're in trouble. This was a threat serious enough that Akademiks reportedly contacted the police in response.
Just remember that Meek Mill is nothing but a hypocrite. And again, yo, I don't know if you have issues with 6ix9ine, you clearly do. You don't want to address him. You got issues with Nicki's man, you don't want to address him. You got issues with Nicki, you don't want to address that. Cool, I get it. Ak is supposed to be the dude who, like, yo, you could just get everything off on. Cool, I'm just trying to tell you that, bro, like, I'm just not into being bullied. So if you got, like, some tough that you have to do, keep it that way. Just stop snitching on yourself. Stop.
One thing about Ak, if you go at him, it's on for life. He reminds me of 50. Oh my God. The beef been going on for years. But I love how Ak just stands up for himself and doesn't tolerate, disrespect. That's dope to see, man. That's dope to see.
Telling the world you're greenlighting people and just do what you have to do. Because right now, like, when you say greenlighting, I send that to the police. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, yo, are you greenlighting?
So, when the Diddy Meek allegations hit in 2024...
Your Honor, my client's Instagram, it was hacked. He didn't write that. He didn't greenlight anyone.
Big Akademiks saw an opportunity that he could not pass up. Within hours of Lil Rod's lawsuit hitting the internet, he was live on Twitch, going through the entire 73-page indictment page by page. And when he reached the footnote describing a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, Akademiks immediately stopped scrolling and connected the dots to Meek, with his audience gobbling it up, like a complimentary buffet tray during a Freak-Off's halftime.
Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intercourse with rapper 5, that's redacted. Look, 5. He's a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Yo, Meek, we were playing around with that Michael Rubin shit. If you don't, you've been tweeting about everything on planet Earth. If you don't get a Twitter rant saying you about to get Lil Rod killed, you about to shoot up his block, blow his mama's house up, this saying that you and Diddy were fornicating. What the Meek?
Your Honor, my client was not fornicating with P. Diddy's.
Ak went full prosecutor mode. He would roast Meek for tweeting about everything under the sun, except these allegations about him and Diddy getting freaky.
Yo, Meek, now ain't the time to be talking about switches on the street. They want to know if you're a switch hitter. That's what we want to know. That. We ain't talking about switches on guns. Are you a switch hitter? That's all we want to know.
But he wasn't satisfied with just discussing the lawsuit. He would go on to dig up tweets with every interaction between Meek and Diddy that suddenly looked suspicious as hell.
Why y'all saying look up the pool video? What happened in the pool? Oh, him belly flopping? Meek Mill pool. Oh, the fries on the lap? Nah, that was epic. That was epic. The fries on the lap was crazy.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work.
Meek and Diddy in matching fits? What are you talking about? Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This is kind of like a daddy pose. Like, daddy.
I don't know what Meek was thinking. I don't know what my client was thinking when he put that shirt on. Oh my God.
You feel me?
The stream racked up millions of views on Twitch and over 400k on YouTube, with clips spreading across social media faster than a freak-off rash, and what started as a footnote was now a full-blown hip-hop conspiracy theory with Akademiks as the lead investigator. And now, this is where things get really intense. Meek would warn Akademiks to stop mentioning his name, making vague threats about what would happen when they crossed paths in person, posts that only made him appear more unhinged. But Akademiks would flip Meek's aggression back on him quicker than Diddy flipping over Meek at a freak-off, suggesting that Meek was only angry before the speculation about his sexuality hit too close to home. What followed was an intense battle between the two on social media. Academics called Meek washed up, and the two would continue to throw insults at each other. By March, Academics was claiming that cops showed up at his door, allegedly called by Meek himself, who ironically built his brand on anti-snitching anthems. Later that month, Meek had apparently had enough and would block Academics on X. On the flip side, Academics would declare victory instantly, boasting that he'd out-tweeted the infamous Twitter fingers himself. The internet would diss Meek for taking an L from a media personality and streamer, and the streets really weren't feeling this look. But while Meek would stop Academics' trolling with the block button, what he couldn't block out were the millions of people who would go on to taunt him about being Diddy's booty call over the next months. Now, between February and September 2024, Meek caught occasional breaks from the relentless mockery, but each new development in Diddy's legal saga brought fresh waves of clowning.
The Diddy Show. Diddy Slickers.
When federal agents raided Diddy's mansions in March,
AR-15s, drugs, and 1,000 bottles of lube. Freak off supplies found in Diddy's mansion raids. Damn.
uncovering an enormous cache of baby oil, Slippery Meek would be the butt of the memes. And when an alleged Diddy freak-off participants list hit the internet, Meek was specifically named as a VIP. And when feds snatched up Diddy on trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in charges in September, anybody who had ever breathed Diddy's musty air was under renewed scrutiny, especially Meek, who found himself right back in the digital crosshairs. All the evidence pointing to his alleged relationship with Diddy would make the rounds again, with people clowning him for allegedly getting his cheeks clapped by the diddler. This time, Meek would hit back with the oldest play in the self-defense handbook, blame it all on a conspiracy. He posted his notifications feed like it was evidence at a trial, claiming that bots were running a coordinated hit job on powerful figures like himself. And now whoever they is supposed to be, Meek left that to our imagination. By September the 24th, Meek would go full Alex Jones, offering $100 grand in cash money to anyone who could prove how his name got tangled up in Diddy's legal nightmare. This desperate move only made him look worse.
100K cash to find out every specific detail involving Meek Mill name to the Diddy case. Overall, it's just public appearances that you've had with Diddy throughout the years, and these weird, awkward moments, you know, and it's multiple that just tie you in. And yeah, Meek, it was your own doing, just being around him, but also perhaps your lack of communication with Diddy, because he seems super comfortable to call you daddy on camera. It does not look like you ever spoke to Diddy and let him know, hey, like, I appreciate you, but don't call me daddy. Makes me feel uncomfortable, this and that. I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with him like that about things you like and don't like. Yeah, it's just all of these pieces to make one whole that just tie you into the case, to Diddy's name, and all of this.
And gave celebrities fresh ammunition to mock him. For one, 50 Cent, who's been going at Diddy's neck for months over the allegations, immediately capitalized on the situation. 50 would post an AI-generated video showing Meek and Diddy in wigs, essentially laughing at Meek for trying to pay his way out of a situation that his own public behavior created. Even lesser-known personalities started getting their shots in too. Actor Julio McCullum.
Case solved, you can say. Oh my god.
Jumped on the bandwagon, responding to Meek's $100,000 tweet with the viral picture of him and Diddy twinning. At this point, the pattern was clear. The more Meek tried to deny, the more evidence of his seemingly bizarre relationship with Diddy kept surfacing. On November 19th, footage from Meek's 27th birthday party in 2014, hosted by none other than the diddler himself, hit the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail revealed that Diddy had rented the Parisian Paris for $25,000 to throw an extravagant party for Meek, with masked dancers, lingerie-clad women, and men eating sushi off naked models. The property manager described the double fish buffet celebration as disgusting, claiming that there was cocaine like powdered sugar everywhere, along with used blood on the bedding and lubricant on the dressers and marble floors. Now, for the record,
what? He claims people were eating sushi off naked women. That is disgusting. Doing cocaine, and there were bottles all over the place and blood stains in some of the bedrooms? Jason said, I thought it was powdered sugar everywhere. That's cocaina. I ended up with almost half an ounce of cocaine and different baggies left in the bedrooms. The bedrooms the following day were disgusting, broken bottles of alcohol. Jesus Christ, Meek Mill, your 27th birthday party was a freak-off hosted and paid for by Diddy. Oh my goodness.
Marble floors are very porous. You don't want to be pouring baby oil on those. These weren't exactly the kind of party details you'd want attached to your name when you're trying to shake off rumours of your relationship with Diddy. Like all the other allegations, Meek would deny these too, but at this point he knew the damage to his reputation was beyond repair, so his only move left was to completely denounce any ties with Diddy, and that's exactly what he did. In a video that quickly went viral, Meek would shut down any connection that linked him with Diddy.
Yo, Shaw, what's up?
Yeah, y'all already know we
Yo,
playing
Shaw.
out
Let's
real
go.
life.
Real life.
You know, Diddy gang, Meek Mill in real life. Don't ever disrespect me, you
Talk
heard?
that Meek. Yeah, Meek.
Seemingly ignoring the fact that just a few years earlier, he was calling Diddy his mentor, featuring him in videos, and jumping in his swimming pool while Diddy called him daddy. For a rapper who'd built his brand on keeping it real, most people saw these seemingly desperate attempts to rewrite history as authentic as a $3 bill. Even Whack 100 and Loose Cannon couldn't help mocking how Meek wanted to suddenly backtrack after all the evidence had surfaced.
Meek Mill clowning now. Meek Mill holler no Diddy gang now.
Yeah, but he can't really say that when the landlord came out and said that after you left Meek Mill's, it was blood and dookie all over the sheets and stuff. After Diddy ran through you.
He said blood and dookie?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, Meek. Dookie.
After years of studio sessions, VIP lounges, and matching outfits with his daddy Diddy, Meek suddenly wanted the world to believe that they were barely acquaintances. But was he really just another industry acquaintance in Diddy's extensive network? Or was he something more? The truth is, we might never know for certain what really went down between Meek and Diddy, but hip-hop has always been a genre built on perception, and in that unforgiving court, the streets have already rendered their verdict. Meek's carefully crafted street image has been permanently tarnished by his association with Diddy, a stain that no amount of blotting, damage control, or conspiracy theories has managed to wash away. That Diddy's Boy label follows him to this day when he least expects it, and the internet's permanent memory and hip-hop's love for legendary scandals and its deep-rooted homophobia means that this shadow will likely hang over Meek's head for years to come. Which just goes to show you that you can beat cases, survive beefs, and overcome industry obstacles, but you can't outrun your bad choices in who you associate with and what parties you go to. And even if it's all untrue, the unfortunate fact is, Meek Mill will never be able to erase the damage done to him by associating with the diddler.
I think all in all, like, I don't believe Meek Mill to have a sexual relationship with Diddy. I just think it's bad coincidence after bad coincidence, and he needs some consulting when it comes to his public image, because he's putting himself in these predicaments that just make him look crazy. This is wild, though.
Your Honor, I cannot represent my client anymore. Thank you.
Let me get the thumbnail. Think we got it. We got the thumbnail. Awesome.